Today's day 51 of Art Every Day. Today I'm going to be doing a quick mini study of a composition. And what do I mean by that? So I'm going to take an existing composition from somebody who's already got all this stuff figured out, and I'm just going to see if I can copy as close as I can. So I'm going to take one example over here, and I'm just going to see if I can copy that. Something like that, okay? I am going to try to make this pretty quick. I have stuff that I want to do tonight, and it's pretty stinking hot out. So I turned the air conditioner off. It's supposed to get up to like 90 some odd degrees, 100 degrees tomorrow. Let me check the temperature right now. All right, so it's 93 right now, and tomorrow it's supposed to get up to 100. Might rain later tonight. Then tomorrow it's just going to be sunny all day, so it's just going to be like hell on earth. So the sooner I can get the air conditioner on, the better. So I don't even have a composition example prepared. So what we're going to do is I'm going to type in Studio Ghibli backgrounds. And we're going to take the first one that speaks to me and see if we can copy it. So here's one, but I don't know if that's a fan art or if that's a real Ghibli background. Here's one. I'm not sure what this is from, but or whether or not this is actually Studio Ghibli, but it looks pretty enough, and it kind of speaks to me. So here it is. I don't know if it's from the people. Grab her. Hello, you want to hang out? Some kisses. Hey, baby. How you doing? How you doing? She's had a long, lonely day. Because a few days a week I work at the office for 8 hours. And then the rest of the week, I've got 4 days home with her. Oh, are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? Okay. Anywho, let her do her thing. That's okay. So here's a Studio Ghibli background. I believe it's Studio Ghibli because that's what it said when I Google searched. So if that's true or not, who the heck knows? So what I'm going to do is try and break this down into thirds, halves, and if those don't work as pieces to separate this, then I'm going to try and find some other ratios possibly. So here's about halfway, must be about here. Let's see. Does it feel right? Yeah, that feels right. And then halfway, it's hard to just find halfway when there's so much detail and try and ignore the detail when I'm abstracting. This is probably halfway here. But then again, this looks bigger now on this side. So halfway is probably closer to here. Which it's not that much of a difference, but it's enough to matter to me. So now I'm going to split this up into thirds. So here's probably where a third is. And the way that I can test if it's a third, if this line is cut in half, is it equal to that other side? No, it's not. So the third is slightly further. Let's say it's here. And now things are starting to make sense. Okay. And so if I take half of this line here, It's probably about there. Which would make sense because then this is almost the size. Maybe even a little smaller here. So let's go somewhere like that. So we've got, I think our vanishing point's pretty clear. We've got a vanishing point off in the distance. About yonder. The canal flows toward it. The stone adjacent to the house and the foundation follow it. The slats in the house almost follow it. Maybe this is an oversight. Maybe I drew the line wrong. Maybe it's closer here. Who can say? But it looks beautiful either way. And then if that's the finish. Okay. So it looks like either the vanishing points are wrong here, or I'm doing something wrong. Let's try this again. This makes sense as vanishing point. It's not that far off. But this looks like it's where it's supposed to be. So we've got our thirds. 1/3 is where the canal cuts through, and this is really our one of our focal points. Is the canal in front, the rain coming down. The color of the canal is different from the adjacent area because we see the reflected blue of the sky. And even though green is a cool tone and a cool color, green is warmer than blue. So we're finding these small relationships. And then it looks like the sky in general is very cool tone coated because we've got, and I guess this is common for when there's a lot of rain. You've got the overcast light and the bounced reflected light. It's going to be cooler than the surface underneath. I forget the name of it. I think it's called local color. So that makes sense. What else do we see here? Just little points of interest that I think are fascinating. Like details that are added in that, maybe they didn't need to be there, but they make the scene. So in this corner of the third, there's the box. Just something to look at here. This ramp comes up, and these boxes over here, they follow along there as well. Boxes and barrels. Then the plant really is around that bottom third for here. And then I think there's maybe not as much rhyme or reason for the other foliage in the background. But this I really like. This tree here hangs over, terminates at that third, and sort of gives an enclosed feeling to this entire space. And I like how dark the shadows are on that as well. You can really get the sense of shade and kind of a coldness, especially on a wet, rainy day like that. And then the tree on the background, it looks like it just takes up the top half of the middle third and the right half of the middle third, so up here. So with all that said, now I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to break it away, and put it on my side screen, and I'm going to see if I can remember that and see if I can draw these spatial relationships just from observation. So I did already break it down, which is helpful, but this is the first time I'm trying to do it just raw, I think you could say. So let's get our canvas here. I think that looks about right. I'm going to divide that in half. Divide that in half. Looks like closer there. I feel like this is still a little bit wider, but I think that's close enough for freehand. And then I'm going to cut this into thirds. 1, 2, Hmm. So close, so close. Close again, but not quite. No cigar. We'll call that good. So here's our thirds. Our center thirds here. A little bit tighter. One. One. So the middle one maybe is a little bit smaller, but I'm not going to worry too much about that, like I said. What else did we notice here? Vanishing point looks like it's at the middle of the top third intersection. Now what I'm going to do, now that I've got most of our relationships, most of our guidelines, I'm going to take this and I'm going to knock the opacity way down just so it's a layer underneath. And I'm going to try to, just looking at where it is on the other side, draw in what I think I see. So here is that vanishing point. That river or the canal approaches the bottom. Not sure if this is like the halfway mark of the third or if this is I'm just gonna trust my gut here. Say that it's more like the halfway mark of that. And the halfway mark of that. And those approach the vanishing point. Where the canal stops, the vanishing point is actually not there. It would be. I can't remember where it was now. It looks like it's closer to the bottom of this third here. So I'm just gonna pick this third. That's the vanishing point. Draw a line there. A line there. And that's our canal. Canal is only one letter away. I don't know why I'm thinking the things that I do. I swear I'm like a middle schooler. Immature humor. But anyways, we've got this box here. I think this is not quite right. So our box, most of the face faces us. It is at an angle. It's very slight, it's very gentle. But this angle is steeper than this angle. So even though it's tilted away ever so slightly, you can see the face and the side. Something a bit more like this. Okay, and if I remember right, this is where the house, the roof of the house ends. I'm gonna guess that the house itself is here. Ends at that third. And then away from this vanishing point still. So maybe the vanishing point is somewhere up there. Maybe it's. Oh, this is so hard to tell. But I'm just gonna follow along like so. It looks like here's where it splits off. just underneath. We've got these holes and frames holding up the building. Which will be closer than I think they are. But the same deal. It's this must be the vanishing point here. There is a slight bit of roof that comes down from here. Where's that vanishing point? What else do I see here? Wood stacked right here. These are things that are small details. Maybe I'm focusing too much on. I should be looking at the larger details here. So there's our stones. They're stacked. The corner of the house looks to be about there-ish. It's very, very small. Boxes. A basement, it looks like. Another box. And this is a strange one because it's on this box that you can barely see the top of it. So it looks like the horizon line is just above that. If it is just above that. Hey, this is feeling like a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. That's the point of this. It's to learn. So and then goes back out. So there's like a section of the building that comes out like that. It's so bizarre because it looks like it's something just feels so weird. Like I'm looking at the picture and it looks beautiful and it makes sense, but there's so many little tiny details that when I look at them and I think about them, they just don't make sense. Anywho, got some foliage here. Not sure what kind it is. I don't know my plants from Japan all that well yet. Not yet. But it looks like it's some kind of. We have a species here in the U.S. I think it's called bedstraw. Those are the ones. If I'm thinking of the right plant, those are the ones you get little tiny like. If you're walking around, you got shoes on. They're little dots on your socks. They're little tiny birds that grip to your shoes and your socks like Velcro. What else do we see here? Got some foliage in the background that overhangs the canal, sort of obscures it a little bit. We've got this stone drop down where it looks like you can get closer to the canal. It's very nice. I don't know. Got the bridge that goes over the canal. Looks like it's about a little bit above the third mark. So maybe that's a golden third. And then we've got a couple of smaller, like a bucket over here. The tree, I think I said the tree was half of this third. And then it follows along that third, and then it mirrors on the side. So I'm not worried about drawing this very realistically or with a whole lot of detail. I just want to make sure that I'm getting my composition right. And then that I am seeing what I'm seeing in the right spots. And we've got this vault where you can see a tree line in the distance. And same here, the sky comes and looks through. And then you've got this tree, which just barely you can see, because it's obscured by other leaves and branches in front of it. Some poke down towards that bridge. Looks like it's branching off in this direction ever so slightly. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Hi, kitty. Good morning. Good morning, kitty. Got some plants that grow out this direction. I'm always amazed by. I think this is done in gouache. Just the layering of value to create these sweeping grassy forms with petals at the end. And I'm going to show you at the end here what I'm talking about. The shadow of the bridge underneath. And I think that's about close enough. And now let me show you what I'm talking about here as I take this layer, our original image, and I'm going to bring it over here. This right here. I would love to learn how to do this. We've got this really dark shade and shadow. This is dark value. And then you've got the blades of grass poking up and out. It's just beautiful to me. Hi, kitty. Goodbye, kitty. She's not a lap cat. I'm finding out. I've known that for a while, actually, but I just keep trying. It just never works out. So here is our original image. I'm going to knock the opacity. I'm going to keep the opacity where it is. And what I'm going to do is... Actually, I will knock it down. I will put the lines on top of it. Now let's take a look and see how close we were. Pleasantly surprised by some things, but not surprised by others. So first thing I'm noticing is this clipping right here. It's clipping right here. So I was pretty close to the size of the original canvas. So that's that. I'll call that a win for me. This box, I'm noticing right away, in the same spot, in the correct spot, not the right size at all. So I think finding ways to gauge size in perspective like this would be helpful. The bridge is really close to where it is in the real image. It's just a little bit higher. The tree as well. Not too far off. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep playing around with the size here. Okay. This feels more accurate now. But still, it's not accurate, so let me just use what I had done originally. So like I said, the box is not in the right spot. The tree is actually very close. It's just a little bit larger than I expected, and it's a little bit off to the side. Same thing with this tree up here. It's hard when something's this far into the corner like that, because my mind immediately wants to push it a little bit further than it actually is. But in reality, it's just in the corner ever so. What else am I noticing here? Let me scale this again, because something does feel wrong. So maybe I did get some stuff right here. This feels a little bit better. So, building corner, got that correct. The depth of the building, that was correct. So that's pretty cool. This post is pretty far off from where it actually is. So that's something maybe I could improve on. And like I said, this tree, the size of this thing is a little bit out of whack, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. It looks like the canal was very close, very well done. And I don't know what's going on, if the canal has its own vanishing point, or if it does extend in that direction, but the contours of the ground are sloping down in that direction so that the water flows down the canal, downhill. That could be possible. The plants are plants. I got that somewhat close, like the layering in here. These plants in the foreground look great. I got that incredibly close. This stuff over here doesn't look quite right, so I need to work on figuring out how to landmark items in perspective. When I'm doing it like outside, like plein air, it's very easy to do because I can just measure units. It's like, okay, I take my pencil, I'm like, okay, here's 1, 2, 3 pencils wide, and I can figure out, okay, the box is at pencil number 2 and 1. You can sort of use a coordinate or grid system that way. But here, when I'm just looking and I'm eyeballing it, it's a little bit different. So that's those are the major patterns, I think. This stone step down here, it's quite close. I forget if I talked about that or not. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how I was able to, I guess, identify some of these patterns, try and remember where they were, and copy them from I onto my own side, I guess. Maybe that's not a complete sentence, but you get the gist of it. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wrap up really quick and say thank you to all of you who have been watching these videos. Really means a lot to me. And I've been finding a new wave, a second wind, after a couple months of very slow, painful, I don't want to do this anymore kind of days. I've been having a lot of fun with this again, and I feel alive again, and I feel like I've got energy and like I'm rejuvenated. So thank you to anyone who's been watching these, if you've been sticking around. I guess I should say thank you to me for sticking around too and making these. Trying to think if there's anything I want to close with, but that's pretty much it for today. So thanks again. See you tomorrow, I hope.